they did ask that we might start off with talking about sort of what got us here. And it's pretty simple in my case. It's not IQ. I'm sure you'll all be glad to hear that. But everybody in this room has more IQ than they need to do my job. The big thing is rationality. And in other words, I always look at IQ and talent as sort of representing the horsepower of the motor, but then in terms of the output, the efficiency with which the motor works, that depends on rationality, because a lot of people start out with 400 horsepower motors and get 100 horsepower of output, and it's way better to have a 200 horsepower motor and get it all into output. And so why do smart people do things that interfere with really getting the output they're entitled to? And it gets into habits, into character, into temperament, and it really gets into behaving in a rational manner. It's not getting in your own way. As I say, everybody here has the ability absolutely to do anything I do and much beyond. And some of you will and some of you won't. But it will, the ones that won't, it will be because you get in your own way. It won't because the world doesn't allow you to. It will be because you don't allow yourself to. So I have one little suggestion for you. Pick out the person in the class that you admire the most, and then write down why you admire them. Put down a list of qualities. You're not to name yourself in this. And then put down the one that frankly you could stand the least in the whole group, and put down the qualities that turn you off in that person. Then look at that list, and you won't find it's a bunch of things like throwing a football 70 yards or anything of the sort. The qualities of the first one that you admire are qualities that you, with a little practice, can make your own, and which, if practiced, will become habit forming. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. I mean, my age, I can't change any of my habits. I mean, I'm stuck. But at your age, you will have the habits 20 years from now that you decide to put into practice today. So I just suggest that you look at the habits you admire in others, or the behavior you admire in others, and make those your own habits, and you look at what you really find somewhat reprehensible in others, and just decide, those are things you're not going to do. Ben Franklin did that a few hundred years ago, and it still works today. And if you do that, you'll find that you convert all your horsepower into output. So,
I was curious what each of you felt was the best business decision you'd made throughout your career.
The best what?
Business decision.
I think just jumping in the pool, basically. I mean, I've always enjoyed what I've done, and a few things have worked out very well. And the nice thing about the investment business is that you don't need very many. But you'll see plenty of times when you get chances to do things that just shout at you. And the thing you have to do is when that happens, you have to take a big swing. I mean, that is no time to be reading a book on the theory of diversification. I mean, that is a time to put very significant. When you find something where you know the business, it's within your circle of competence, you understand it, the price is right, the people are right, then you take your thumb out of your mouth and you barrel in.
We were talking at breakfast this morning about of all Warren's investments decisions, which was the worst decision? Which it's amazing, and they're tough to find because the track record's unbelievable. But we, I think, decided that by some metric, buying the company that his company is named after was probably the worst investment decision.
That's true. I mean, we went into a terrible business because it was cheap, and it's what I refer to as the used cigar butt approach to investing. That you see the cigar butt down there, it's soggy, it's terrible, but there is one puff in it and it's free. And that's what Berkshire was when we bought it. I mean, it was selling below working capital. Actually, buying Berkshire Hathaway, buying control of it, was probably the biggest single bad decision that I've made. And then I made all kinds of decisions that have cost us billions of dollars, but they've been mistakes of omission rather than commission. I mean, there were businesses that we knew enough to buy a lot of. I don't worry about not buying Microsoft because I didn't understand that business. I didn't understand Intel. But there were businesses that I did understand. Fannie Mae was one. I mean, I made a decision to buy it, and I didn't execute. And we would have made many billions of dollars on something that was within my circle of competence, and I didn't do it. And you don't see that. Conventional accounting doesn't record that. But believe me, it happened.
In my case, I'd say my best business decisions really have to do with picking people. You know, deciding to go into partnership with Paul Allen is probably at the top of the list. And then subsequently hiring a friend, Steve Ballmer. And having somebody who you totally trust, who's totally committed, who shares your vision and yet has a little bit different set of skills, and also acts as a check on you. You know, some of the ideas you come up with, you run by them because you know they're going to say, hey, wait a minute, you know, have you thought about this and that? And just, you know, the benefit of sparking off of somebody who's got that kind of brilliance, it's not only made it fun, but it's really led to a lot of success. So picking a partner is crucial.
Yeah, and I've had a partner like that, Charlie Munger, for a lot of years, and it does for me exactly what Bill was talking about. Charlie, and so you have to calibrate with Charlie, though, because Charlie says everything I do is dumb, but but if he says it's really dumb, then I know it is. But if he just says it's dumb, I take that as an affirmative vote.
Go ahead.
If you can change one thing in your life, what would it be and why?
My age. You know, I never look back. I just don't. I don't worry about anything. I mean, so I consider myself unbelievably lucky. So the idea of saying I could have even been a little luckier if this or that had happened, you know, I mean, you know, I could have been a lot better looking, or I could have been a better athlete, or all that stuff. But so what? You know, you play the hand you get. You play it as well as you can, and you're thankful if you're lucky enough. The odds were, when I was born, the odds were over 50 to 1 against me being born in the United States. I mean, I had a 2% probability, you know. Well, if I'd known that, I might have given up and not come out. I mean, but here it was, you know. I was lucky enough to be born here, and I was lucky enough to have two terrific parents, and they raised the three kids in a way that helped me enormously in life. So, I mean, when you got all that going for, I just don't think you look back and think about anything that could be changed better. I'm thankful.
Isn't there at least one bridge hand you would have played differently?
Well, I have a partner who says I should have played every bridge hand differently. I asked her one time, I said, how should I play that hand? And she said, under an assumed name.
I think the key resource you have to deal with is your time and how you spend time. And I'm pretty rigorous at looking back each year. I even get my friend Steve Ballmer to come in and look at my schedule and criticize, hey, you didn't really need to spend time on this or that. And that's pretty useful, because you know, if I can get more time to sit down with the engineers, if I can get more time to get out with some customers, those are the things I just love to do. And you know, it just gets me excited, it clears my mind, and so you know, I'm always trying to make sure that I'm only doing the things that are important.